Hi guys, this is Pestily and welcome to another team podcast with a special guest, Tweak. Something to note about this podcast is we're all very passionate about the game Escape from Tarkov, but none of us are actually directly connected to the game itself. So we're not devs, we're not connected to BSG at all. So these are all just our personal opinions. Slush Puppy and Veritas both are qualified coders and software engineers kind of people. Tweak has a coding background and I'm just a gamer. So take that into account while you're listening to us. We do talk about different things that will just give perspective as well. So without further ado, one last thing before I crack into it. You're going to hear some Discord. You're going to hear some Discord noises. I do actually get rid of them later on. I'm sorry about that. But unfortunately, it's just I only just installed Discord on this computer. And for some reason, they all went off like crazy during the stream, but I fixed it up later on, so I apologise for that. Let's start off. Tweak, you made a video, it was about 30 minutes long, and you're saying that Tarkov's in a state of, let's say, trouble. And firstly, what inspired you to make that video? And we'll go from there.
So the reason why I made the video in the first place was generally just out of frustration. I almost selfishly made that video just because I wanted a vent. That was pretty much the reason why I made it. So at the start of the stream, I got some stuff from the guys in the chat, people in my community that were frustrated about things as well. We used some of those as talking points in the video. And yeah, like the main reason behind it was I'm just kind of getting fed up with the same issues coming up time after time. Patch after patch, they say it's fixed, but it's not. And I just kind of want to get it out there. At the time, whether it sparked a huge community response or not, I kind of just wanted to get my points out there and just kind of get it off my chest.
Yeah, that's fair. I guess it's why, we've had a lot of frustration. A lot of us are frustrated with things in the game, and at least for us, we've got an opportunity to actually have a platform to vent. Like, we've all got YouTube channels, we've got our streams, we've got ways of venting. I think as a community, I have never been asked so much about a video besides, I think, LG. LG's video is probably the only other video out there that people have asked me so much about. Am I hearing some Discord noise in the background?
I think that was me, sorry.
All right.
I muted when I ripped my vape, so I didn't interrupt your point. Yeah, every 10 seconds, have you seen Tweak's video?
Yeah,
in my channel. It's the only time it gets worse is when Pestyly's doing a 0 to 40 challenge, and people come in and say, "I'm watching it on the other screen, man. I'm not even trying to stream right now. I'm just watching Pest stream on stream, bro."
So there were a lot of points brought up. Probably the. All right, where do you want to start? Let's go with a lot of the returning issues like hit reg, armor values being changed a lot. Veritas makes plenty of information on this kind of stuff. What can you tell us about all the issues that keep going back and forth? Veritas, like, you have at least a coding background as well, so you know more information than me.
Yeah, I mean, from my perspective, the hardest thing to deal with is there's so many things that affect something like what people call hit reg, that it's hard to know if what we're seeing is like a regression. Is it a step backwards or is it something new? It's hard to know if it's because of, medical animations and adding that into the game somehow fucks up your hitbox, or, there's a million things that can affect it. So for me, it's always hard to say this is the same thing that happened a month ago or 2 months ago or 3 months ago. And so many things change, and so many things change when a patch hits and in between patches, when they're doing like ninja hotfixes to change ricochet values, or whenever there's other bugs having to do with like the face shields either being like super ricocheting bullets, or not too long ago they literally were completely ineffective. And it seems like every day they're either one or the other. 50% of my chat comes in and says, I'm so sick of getting one tap through my $100,000 ruble helmet. And then the next person that comes in says, I'm sick of shooting 75 bullets into someone's face mask, and it's like, what? I don't know. I don't know what to say. It's literally impossible to know what the hell is actually going on, and if they're changing things for different people, A/B testing, or if there's 20 different bugs or what. It's just like kind of chaos.
I think some of the helmets are placebo, and they're just testing them on us. They're not actually helmets.
Cosmetic.
Yeah.
Well, Slush was like in Shoreline last night, and I saw him. He was just like running a Ronin. If last patch, no one used a Ronin ever.
Oh, I was destroying people. Man, I fought. There was 4 guys on the roof and 3 guys on the ground, all of them firing on me, and I just blew them all away. Like, just stood there in a fort in a Ronin and just tanked all of them and destroyed them. Like, easy. And there was one clip where I was wearing a Alton and a fort where there was 4 guys. They surprised me. All of them sprayed full clips into me, and I survived. And I had the time to like stop, like shoot one, kill one, reload, kill 2, reload, kill another. Like, it was basically invincible. But then when I'm killing people in armor, they're dying very quickly. So is it armor, or are you just a shit shot, or what is happening? Like, is your internet so bad that you're not even hitting them? There's a million things. Like, so, it doesn't. I don't think it's been that bad for me. I haven't encountered that many bugs, but some people have encountered a lot.
One of the interesting things is like people are like saying it's like game breaking and the meta's changing, and it's kind of like this game just goes through these waves of where it's at with like metas and all that stuff. I've argued in the past that they really shouldn't change armor values until the game's closer to completion, and just let there be metas. Like, okay, this is the M4 meta, or this is the Fort meta, or the problem I find is we constantly just. It's great for Anton. Anton makes an armor video every week if you wanted to. You could do it every 15 minutes, and it gives you something to do. But it's as you're saying, Veritas. Sorry, is one person will come to your chat and say, "Oh, the 6B helmet's ridiculous right now," and then like a week later, they'll probably make it absolutely atrocious. And then so there's all these people that think that 6B helmet's overpowered, and they're running 6Bs again. They're still running 6Bs, and you're just like, idiot. And this is where Tweak video comes in, because the frustration comes out. It's like, where do we like? I know we're testers, but
so the thing is that from a software perspective, you can't test unless you have reasonable expectations for what the desired results are supposed to be. We don't know what the ricochet chance is. We don't know what the pen chance is and the frag chance. If they publish those values, if you hovered over the helmet and it said, whatever the properties of the armor was, and the bullets said exactly, it wasn't some guy, reverse engineering the stuff and throwing it up on an Excel page. It was the devs telling us, hey, this is supposed to fragment 33% of the time. Then you can actually do objective testing. But we can't do any of that. We're sort of thrown in there and kind of watched through a window as like the test subjects. And there's somebody with a clipboard, and we're banging on the window saying, we're getting our asses kicked in here. Help us out. I think like more visibility into what the state of everything is in terms of how they're supposed to behave means that we can actually validate whether it happens that way or not. That's the only way we can do testing and we can do science.
This goes to, like, I've been complaining about this forever, is the patch notes. There's just none. Like, Tweak mentioned this in his video. This has been like one of the things I complain about continuously. Technical fixes. Cheers, boys. Like, that's fucking terrible. That is nothing, man. Like, what the fuck is technical fixes? Honestly, what are you supposed to do with that, man? It's ridiculous. But yeah, anyway, that's just straight up flaming, isn't it? I just want to see we reduce the 6B, or we change the way the server interacts with the files that you're sending us, or something like that. That was causing this. Now it should be fixed. It's like they surely know what they fixed, because they're uploading a patch. All they have to do is just click on it and just go, okay, all right, we're using whatever fucking type of Git we're using. What are the delta changes in the classes? Click on them. What is the change? We changed this. Oh, I remember what that was. Yeah, we changed this. Yeah, okay. 6B is not going to ricochet anymore. Done. Write it down on a piece of paper, bro. Not that hard. That gives me the shits.
The thing is, and this is one of the main gripes I have with the way they kind of manage their relations with their community, is the fact that there's very little transparency. That frustrates me because, you know, it leads off what Slush was saying. Like, what's a technical fix? You know, what are these patches you guys are pushing out? Why can't we get a detailed list of, you know, what you're changing on a consistent basis? Like, if you're patching the game once a week, well, why can't we get a set of patch notes once a week? Like, what's the big deal behind that? Why is it so secretive? One other thing as well is just like, it's just consistency. Like, where's the consistency? There is none right now. It's like every day you play the game and everything feels different all of a sudden because they're just randomly shadow patching certain things and just not telling us. It's just, I don't understand it.
Well, they seem to be able to change like server side things like the traders and stuff like that without even pushing patches, which Veritas and I were talking about this the other day. The way the traders are used, like if you open up a trader or your client sends a REST API request to the server, and the server returns a JSON file, which is just essentially, for no one that knows, is essentially just a CSV, like an Excel spreadsheet, essentially, of what is going to be on the trader, and it just gets sent back, and then your computer interprets the display of that, and then puts sprites on your screen, and just says, okay, there's this, 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 and this. They can change the response to that at any time. So your end will always send the same API request. It will say open therapist, and then their server will always get an open therapist request, and then it'll just send back a different file depending on what is the state of the server. They can change that shit without even pushing updates to us, so we will never know. Like, if they change the way things work on the other end for traders, we have no idea.
Like, and that's the result of a lot of bugs. When you click on something and you get the not necessarily the item move error, but the price has changed or whatever, it's because literally between the time you open the window and the time you purchase something, it's very possible that they changed something that now you were expecting to buy it at a 1 ruble and now it's 3. Yeah. They need to invalidate that, and it just so happens the user experience sucks.
Well, it probably is. It probably is the problem that, like, the item move error probably is actually caused by that, because you will have your inventory would be controlled through the REST API as well, which means that when you make an inventory request, like moving money, then I would say the actual problem with the item move quest usually has to do with stackable items, and I would say that it's causing the actual problem that is causing it is that it's sending you are stacking something on your end, and it's saying, okay, I now have 150,000 rubles in this stack, and then it's sending it through to the server, and then the server's saying you can't have 150,000 rubles in a stack. Something has changed on your end, which means you've either caused a bug or you are trying to change something with like cheat engine. So we are going to reset your stash back to our last requested JSON layout of it, and it goes back, and then it just reverses it back, which I would say that is what the item move error is. You're causing a buffer overflow of one of the thingos, or you're going outside the parameters of what could stack in a money stack or something like that, because it's always stackable items that causes it. But that's just my professional coding opinion.
I know for a fact if you do a heap of adjustments to a weapon or your inventory, and then you repair your armor, the value of the armor changes, and then for some reason there's a flip in the brain of the coding, and it just goes item move error. I can guarantee you, go into a raid, get your armor damage, come out of the raid. I can't replicate it every time, but I know for a fact that's one of the main issues. I always repair my armor first now, before I do other things, in hope.
And that's because.
Sorry, go on.
Go for it.
No, that's when that's at the point where the information that you have client side, it's accruing all of these changes. When you're moving something up and down and up and down and up and down and up and down, I'm assuming the way it works is it's literally just saying here's a move, they put it in a list. Here's a move, they put it in a list. And as soon as you hit escape and you go back a menu, or you go to do something that requires server communication, then it says, oh, here's a bunch of changes, send it all, and then it fails. And that's what armor, armor involves changing a value. Hitting escape and leaving your menu is when they do the sync. So that's why you'll do 100 things and then it all get fucked on you.
And this goes back to leading to frustration, because it's like these things that have been around for so long is what causes frustration with people that play the game a lot. And then I couldn't imagine someone who that's doing like the gunsmith task and they're like making guns and they're getting errors, and it's like I said in my video about how I was watching Sequisha, I was just lurking there, and he made the M4 for one of the gunsmith tasks 3 times, and couldn't believe it. Like I was like, this is like so annoying to watch. Just like every time he finishes the gun and it's like item move error, and it goes back to being trash, and it's just like fuck.
It could someone said in there a timer, as you just said in chat, Veritas, there could be a refresh timer that happens at certain times if you're sitting in the menu. But you could very simply test that by using Wireshark and then just sitting in the menu and then just watching its communication with the server. But that's something that we shouldn't have to do. That's devs' jobs. So
exactly. And I think this comes back. Sorry, go. I'll just finish this. So I say this a lot. We are testers, but we aren't the people to fix the game. We just find errors. We report the errors. That is it. Not our job to fix them. So, Tweak, go, sorry, man.
No, I was just going to expand on what you were saying about, like, you do the stuff in your stash and you repair your armor, you get the move item bug as well. For whatever reason, I've noticed this happen super consistently with like, say you get out of a raid, you've got a gold chain and like a filter, and you want to go put it in your scav box or whatever, your junk box. As soon as you open it and put the items in there and close it and try to do anything else, it'll generate a move item error as well, like 9 out of 10 times. It's just something I've noticed as well.
I wonder if that's if all of these things that that we're talking about, they were probably implemented in such a way to get around duping, to get around stuff like that. So it's like a double-edged sword. It's just like the armor stuff where they're collecting all this information third hand. They probably have some analytics, but a lot of it's probably just bug reports, and people are really shitty at reporting bugs and explaining what the deal is or explaining what the objective behavior of some feature is. So there ends up being a bunch of dupers. So they end up saying, okay, what we're going to do is we're just going to make it so that you can't dupe, but it's going to end up screwing up a bunch of people that aren't duping in these other edge cases that maybe we haven't coded for. Or armor's too good, let's tone it down. Oh, now it's too bad, let's tone it up. Oh, now it's too good, let's tone it down. But then there's other bugs at play, like hit reg or like the end screen stats, or stuff like that, where they're just responding to a lot of stuff where they're responding to our feedback, and our feedback is based on a complete lack of understanding of how things should be. Where I think if they educated us, even if they published that JSON file, or they made the API open, or they made it so that you could, I don't know what their official stance is on if you were to grab that JSON file somehow, whether it's Wireshark or whatever, and look at that information. Because if I had objective data, I could go through and test whether or not that data was implemented correctly. Whereas now I don't know if it does, the helmet doesn't work 10% of the time because it's coded to not work 10% of the time, or because there's a bug that happens 10% of the time.
Yeah.
So speaking about helmets then, so if the current issue is based around them changing the value of the, I'll say deflection. What's the fucking word? Ricochet chance.
Ricochet.
If it's based around the value of the ricochet chance, and they're actually not being stopped, but they're being ricocheted a lot higher chance of the time now. Because I think Slush, you were saying that there was one time you tested a helmet, it was like 8 hits. Next time it was like 15.
So it was Alton deflected 20,995 on the first, and then took 8 to kill on the second. So I would say it's some kind of ricochet chance that is of a high enough value to allow you to still be one-tapped, because I've one-tapped people through 6Bs, and I've also had half mags just fly off their heads, and you can see them pinging off their heads in slow-mo. And I think it's just a chance, but the chance is been set to too high somehow. It could be any amount of thing. They could have changed anything in the game that affected that. There is obviously a lot of mechanics.
And I think this is where...
the ammo also...
All right, so I think this is where come back to those patch notes or just a change log where we can go, hey, they've changed this. This is why. And then you wouldn't be like, have people going, oh my God. Like, we could actually go, oh, this is why they've done it. They've changed it to see testing on the Ricochet. And then maybe they'll dial Ricochet down. Go Veritas.
Well, I was going to say that there's a ricochet chance on the helmets, but then there's also a pen chance on the bullets, and then there's also a fragmentation chance on the bullets. So the only way that you could do, and this is why I started to do the science videos like I did when I first did that leg meta video, was I collected like, I don't remember how many thousand data points, because you can't do 3 and, you know, make any sort of conclusion. You just can't. So, we don't have the ability to do tests until we have offline mode with friends and stuff. It's super impractical and super expensive and super time consuming. So like, yeah, publishing that information would be great. Although it's a double-edged sword. You guys know, as soon as they publish that information, the complaining would be they don't tell us. It would then shift over to 85% of the community screaming that why did they up the chance from 25 to 75? I somehow know what the percentage should be. Oh my God, there's never going to be a good solution to this that's going to make everybody happy. It sucks, but
yeah, it's exactly like CSGO. They change something and they'll tell you exactly what it is. So like, we changed the fire rate of the 5.7 and now does this. And people are just like, oh, 5.7 was my favorite gun. I have a stat track 5.7. Fuck you. And that's, so it's always going to be like that. Like, people have their favorite guns. They have everyone's an armchair game developer. They think what is the best. Something that annoys you, just because it annoys you doesn't mean that it is a bad design choice. Like, a seatbelt in a car isn't a bad design choice because it chafes your nipples sometimes. It's like, it's there to save your life. Some things in games are shit. They annoy you. They're there to make it more entertaining. Scabs are annoying. For any of you guys that have played the game long enough, yeah, scabs can really give you the shits. Try playing it without scabs. I've played it without scabs. I'm sure you guys have all played it without scabs. How boring is the game when there's no one to alert people to other people's locations? You just walk around in empty maps. Yeah, you need them. 100%. They do suck sometimes. They will kill you, but you need them.
Yeah, there was a comment in chat. I wonder how much of a difference removing RNG would make, at least until the things like netcode, hit reg, other things that are kind of fundamental to the behavior of the game, zeroing, FOV, all that stuff. As soon as you nail that stuff, then I feel like you can then start to add, you know, like what Diablo and all those games have, where it's like, oh, you have crit chance now and you have all these other things. Like, I think those are great for the game, and they make cool, dynamic, different things where sometimes you get lucky and it's exciting, and sometimes you get unlucky and it sucks. But yeah, I feel like they introduced that way too early, and there's way too many moving parts that can just lead to what we see now, which is half of the people saying everything is overpowered, and then the other half of the people saying everything's underpowered.
Sorry, I was just trying to stop that beeping noise. Well, if we had... There was a point in time where there was no scavs in the game at all. And at the moment, people are saying that the scavs are just stupidly crazy. I know about... it would have been like... Maybe about three wipes ago, there was a point where they said, all right, we'll just remove the scavs and make it a PvP, like, only. It was shit. It was so fucking shit.
Yeah.
It was beyond shit.
That was when you could still check how many people were in raids.
Yeah. And I
remember going in with the packets in and just saying 0 and just being like, well, I guess I'll just loot marked room and leave. Like, I don't know.
And then, so... I did a video recently about the scavs on Nighttime Factory because I was trying to level up my snipers, and it was just, I got some really crazy footage. They were like arms bent out like this, and they were like shooting me through a wall. I was like, what? They did dial it down very recently, and it was really good. I think that was, I think where they're at now is hard, but not ridiculous. I don't know, you guys might have noticed that they're still too OP or not, but I think right now, not really struggling too much against scavs again. Could be because of my armor, but
well,
their behavior is genius.
Yes.
Yeah. They're people. I think that it's a combination of two things that are really annoying people. People are still treating them like they are mice to be crushed or ants to be crushed. I don't know who goes around crushing mice, but you used to just be like, I walk up, there's 7 scavs there, just stand there and just go boop, 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 and just take them out. You can't do that anymore, and people are getting smashed. Like you sort of need to treat them like players now because they play a lot better. But also their ability to sort of zone in shots with a close range weapon at a phenomenal distance is really pissing people off. And I think that's something they do need to change is like if a scav has a shotgun, he should not try to engage you from 300 meters out. He should be smart enough to go, all right, I've got a Saiga. I'm not going to full auto it at your face from 200 meters away because it's not going to work. I should try and hide and ambush you. And that's just more evolved behavior that'll come in time. But I think that's one of the things that's really annoying people is that they are hit scan. Nikita stated this in Clean's chat. I think that the longer a scav is looking at you, the more zoned in his aim will be. So if you don't take cover, say you're open in woods, if he's got a 10-second zone on you, he will continue to get more and more accurate. The scavs are hit scan. They don't have bullet drop, so they are going to be hit scanning onto you more and more accurately with a shotgun from 200 meters, and their ability to hit you goes up. If you're getting one tap by scavs, a lot of the time what you'll find, and this happened to me the other day, is a sniper scav will see you, aggro to you, have a direct line of sight, and instead of yelling something, he'll do his behavior of flipping you the bird and then start trying to, like, say the sniper scav is up on top of the roof, he'll flip you the bird and then he'll try and move to a different position. As he's moving to the different position, he'll move 8 meters. That'll take him 3 to 4 seconds. By that time, his hit chance will have gone up to 70% or something like that. And then he shoots once without making a single noise and one taps you in the head. That's behavior is coded into the game and is meant to happen. It just so happens that you have no warning. And that's like how it's meant to be. But usually he'd be like, hey man, I'm going to shoot you. And then you get a warning, but you didn't get it that time. And obviously, yeah, they shoot through fences and stuff like that. It's obviously a bug, but there are some behaviors that are going to be smashing you.
Well,
even though they're meant to be in the game, they do look like bugs.
What are your comments about that in your video, Tweak? I've forgotten it for some reason.
So the main point I went on was that they're just far too aimbody. It's I know it's a dead topic, to keep saying it over and over again because we've all said it 1,000 times. But for some reason, more recently, I feel like the second I turn a corner, they're right on you. There's no, even if their back is turned to you and you get within a certain distance of them, I feel like it's reasonable enough for them to, not have detected you're there yet, and then they just turn around, they do their moonwalk, and then they put 5 Saigas into you, and in that time you think, okay, he's got his back turned to me, I can maybe move over here, but then all of a sudden you take that one step too close, and he still might be like 50 to 80 meters away from you, and he'll still turn around and black out your arm, black out your leg. Also, I've noticed this a ton recently too. I can't remember this happening before, but it goes on to what you were saying about the scavs tracking onto you, and then the longer they're tracked onto you, the more accurate they become. And then taking cover is supposed to maybe, turn that back a little bit, give you some breathing space, but, they still continue to shoot you through trees. You see this on woods all the time, but even on other maps, when you take hard cover, if you try to re-peek them again, the second you go to re-peek and a millimeter of your arm is showing, they'll shoot you.
Yeah, you need a re-peek for somewhere else.
Yeah, I think that's actually because this was confirmed as well that they continue to hold their aim on you even after you're behind cover for a certain amount of time in case you do re-peek. So I think they have like I don't know, I can't confirm it, but I think it's like a 1.5 second or a 2 second or something like that where they are still locked onto you. And when you're behind a tree or something like that and they're continuing to shoot you or behind bushes or something, it means that whatever you are behind has not registered as a collision with the scav's vision, and so they are still locked onto you. And so if they continue to shoot, they've still got you, and their aim is continuing to build. So you need to break Like you need to break line of sight through another object until they actually like stop shooting you, and then you're ready to go.
Yeah, I think what they've been doing every patch has been tweaking maybe one or two, at least different values. Where like last patch they were super aimbody, but like 85% of the time you could just walk up next to them and then they would slowly turn, look at you, and like you said, flip you the bird. So the aimbodiness wasn't so drastic, or it wasn't as noticeable because anybody with two eyes could see the scav from a mile away and have plenty of time to just line up a headshot on them not moving. But the fact now that they're moving so quickly, it's so dynamic, and even if their aim values haven't changed at all, their perception seems to have gone through the roof, where they see you too quickly, they see you from too far, they see you through bushes. So that coupled with the aimbodiness makes it so that it's unrealistic and sort of immersion breaking when you're standing out in a field and there's a bush and you're getting shot and you can't tell from where, and it just so happens that the guy is in the bush and you just see the barrel coming sticking out through it.
So a while ago,
I think with a couple of tweaks they could make it better.
A while ago they can't remember where I read it, but there was a post about how with scavs, if you aim at them, you aggro them. With or without a laser, you literally just aim at them, you'll aggro them. And I've seen this heaps.
Yeah, and that still happens.
Yeah. And so, for example, if you go on a map and like customs and you're on one side of the bridge and they're on the other side, and you like literally just see them and you just like cross your crosshair over them, that is sometimes enough to aggro them. Like just try it over the next few days when you're playing, and it can happen on any map at any distance. Yep.
Yeah, that happened to me today. I was jumping down the rocks to Shoreline, and there was one that was like near the car. Couldn't even see me. I was like completely through a tree, and I sort of looked in his direction, and I just heard Shojili from behind the car, and then he just started shooting at me. And I'm like, well, I can't even see him. How is he seeing me? Like,
it's just a mechanic within the game. I understand why they do it. It's pure to make it so scavs don't just stand there like a full. Like they're actually moving around and stuff. I'd love to actually see more like further pathing of scavs. I think it's a different topic, I guess. But to add to the realism, like they don't just sit. You don't always just have two scavs sitting at the other side of the customs bridge at the ice cream hut. Like they might go for a walk. Might go check out the bridge or whatever. I
want them to loot.
That'd be cool.
Like I want them to like go and actually look through stuff and loot things.
They killed a scav. They killed a PMC and then picked up the helmet or the armor.
Yep.
Oh.
Yeah, I think that'd be cool.
That would make it much harder to know AI versus non-AI too, because that's the one thing. As soon as you see somebody with a gun, a secondary on their back, or they're looting, you instantly know it's a player. That would, oh my god, can you imagine if they just made it so that a scav could have potentially a rifle on his back, or might be just crouching next to? Don't even have to loot. Don't even have them pick up the stuff. Just have it look like they're looting. Even a dead scav, that would be unbelievable.
Yeah.
Or just picking up someone's gun and just doing a burst on it because I haven't shot that gun before.
A group of them all shooting in the air. Swajili!
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Or just like hanging out and actually like if they're not scavenging, why are they just walking around? What are they doing? Well, they just checking out the trees. Well, I don't see the deal. They walk around on the highway outside of customs. It's a terrible position to walk around. Like they're armed, their gun is up, they're at the ready, but they're standing out in the open on a highway. Make them camp go inside and sit in the what's his face? Sit in the shop or something like that. Sit around a fire and play a guitar. I don't know.
I want to walk in the kitchen on customs and see him smoking cigarettes around the table in the kitchen, and all of a sudden they all stand up when you come in. Like, oh my god.
Yeah, that's the kind of stuff I want to say.
Laying on the bed in dorms, walking around dorms, just swearing at each other in dorms, like all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, or laying traps for you. So like if you come into dorms and there is one laying on the bed and he hears a footstep, you hear him, you hear his feet hit the ground, and then you hear like hush talking, and then you don't know where they are. They're waiting in a room or something like that. They're up against the wall, waiting to shoot you when you come through the wall or something like that, or come through the door, like that kind of stuff. Or they're waiting until you walk past the door and then they burst out the door and then start shooting, or they shoot through the door, even like that kind of stuff. I want them to be that smart that they are like remember Fear 1, how good the AI was in that, where they'd flank you and stuff, and
oh
they
my god, man!
Like, I want
that
them to
game
be
was
that
so
good.
incredible.
Yeah, I want them to be that good.
The scav boss minions, I feel like, are a step in that direction where you'll normally with a scav, if you run into a room, close the door, and start healing, you have all the time in the world because they're just sitting there like slowly walking backwards or whatever. But scav boss, they'll breach the door and they'll push you, and that's Those things are all amazing as long as they have other realistic things like perception. And a lot of times, if I'm like running through a field and they have a shotgun, and they're hitting me, they hit me, and then they hit me, and then they hit me with every shot. I get mad at that, but you have to realize too that if I have a 153 and somebody's running through an open field, I'm gonna hit 90% of those shots. So it's not unrealistic to have the feeling of aimbottiness from them. But like I said, it's what makes it broken is the fact that they can see you through unrealistic, in unrealistic situations. They can see you too soon. They flip to you too soon.
The one thing, like, this sort of calls me back to I had a discussion with someone once about Dark Souls and why I enjoy Dark Souls, and that's the difference between forced difficulty and actual difficulty. And forced difficulty is when you play a game like Dark Souls and the boss is the same on a higher difficulty, except they've just jacked his health up to 10 times. The scav is the same. Scav bosses are the same, except they've just jacked their health up and made them aimbot. They're not smarter. Like, you want like different difficulty. Like, the boss that you fight on a different difficulty, you want him to have, like, you want him to be faster, have better moves, like to be able to like counteract your moves, not just have shitloads of health. That's just artificial difficulty. Like, you want something that's like, it feels different when they're stronger. Like, you don't want just tanks
the scavs
that are
in
aimbody.
Tarkov at the moment, they've got like a difficulty slider, right? And that's what BSG does to control. So every scav's got RNG of which scavs, Terminator scav to which one's like the guy that does absolutely nothing at work and just sits around and does shit all, right? So maybe part of the slider shouldn't really be about how much more accurate they are, but more about how they react and how they flank. Maybe they control other scavs too and push other scavs to flanks. Instead of just making it so instant lock under heads and shoot people in the face. Because best player in the world, doesn't matter if a scav instantly shoots you in the face with a gun that can kill you in the face no matter what, you're gonna die. And that's probably not what we want. Like, you don't want to have zero chance of survival when you see a certain scav. You still want to have that chance to be able to beat them, even if it just requires you running away and then approaching it from a different angle or doing something different. But if you just get instantly locked on and headshot, that's totally not what we want. And I think that's where a lot of the frustrations happen, because the slider's gone up too much on too many scavs. Now we go into a raid, and if like the first one takes out your legs, the second one gets you in the face, and because you couldn't move.
Yeah. See, that's like CS:GO bot difficulty. Like, they all behave in exactly the same way, except they all have different timers on how quickly they rip your face off. That's amateur stuff. You don't want that in your game. That doesn't make a game fun. It's just every time you face a different difficulty, you don't have to learn a new moveset or learn how to play better. You just have to be faster at one thing. And at the moment, that is essentially what it is. You have to be fast enough to just one tap a scav or 50 tap him in the head, depending on what is going on with the servers. But you have the only thing that has changed with the scavs, except that they do the peeking and the running thing. That's a good move in the right direction. The scav boss minions push you really hard. That's a good move in the same direction. But the thing where they actually just like rip onto your head, that's I don't like that. That's amateur difficulty raising. It's not the kind of thing that I want to see.
I feel like something that I'm not a game developer, so I'm sure there's tons of probably documentation, published white papers and stuff about how to do AI that I don't know about. But like, I feel like a decent starting point would be, I would take if I was going to make a game in my basement right now, I'd have me and 20 friends all stand on a road and have somebody run by, and I would literally time them. And as soon as they saw something, oh, okay, cool. It took you 3 seconds. It took you 2.5 seconds. It took you 900 milliseconds or whatever to get a realistic idea for the accuracy of guns, how far people are able to hear you realistically. Not, if a scav is turned the other direction 80 meters down the road looking the other way and I'm walking, there's no reason why he should turn around and look at me. If I'm running and I shoot my gun, he should absolutely turn around right away, right? But things like what they see, what they hear, and how often they hit, they should just be within realistic parameters. It'd be cool if it was all based on like community averages or something like that, but then you just have people spamming the ground offline or whatever to throw off the averages. But that's what it should be. It should just be like real people. You should not be able to tell the difference in a perfect world. Yeah, so they should base it off.
We need everyone to go out and just sit on their doorstep and shoot the mailman when he comes and then time it. That's it's how we're gonna get. It's how we're gonna get it.
And then everyone's in jail, and we played jail Tarkov.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, moving on from scavs, a very interesting point Tweak brought up, and I made a small comment about it on his channel, was about the XP on Quest, lack of endgame, options for endgame. I think it was really interesting because right now it's the most casual friendly game Tarkov's ever been. You now have the opportunity to get nearly level 40 just purely off Quest XP. And you now have a flea market to get you any task item or key that you need to get those quests complete. Whereas previously you'd have to farm the keys or the items yourself, which could be quite time consuming and or difficult. I like the changes. Tweak doesn't. And just for the people that haven't seen it, Tweak, honestly, I like people's opinions as well though. So let people know why you don't like the changes and we'll go from there.
So I come from a background of hard games. Like I used to play pretty much like at a professional level on like Rainbow Six Vegas 1 and 2, both, very unforgiving hardcore style games. Used to play hardcore mode on Call of Duty. I love the Dark Souls series. Like the Dark Souls series is one of my favorite series of games I've ever played. I love the grind. I love the learning curve. I love the difficulty. I love that rewarding feeling you get when you achieve something in a game that just continues to kick your ass over and over again. And that's why I loved getting into EFT in the first place, because I remember like it was the first time in a long time I'd felt like for the first month or two, I was like, oh my God, I'm so shit at this game. And Tarkov it just has a way of shitting on you. It doesn't matter what your background is in shooters unless you're Shroud. But like 99% of the player base, you're going to have a struggle when you start playing this game. And over time, I guess I've just kind of lost some of the magic. I know the most efficient ways to get to level 40. You do your tasks, you do certain tasks at certain times. You do these 3 tasks in one go, maximize your XP and stuff. But I would love for them to just kind of slow it down a bit. Now I feel like it's too quick to get to level 40, to get all of the end game stuff. It's happening too quickly for, let's say, the top, I don't know. I want to say that 10% of the player base now is at the end game, at least. And in my opinion, the end game isn't necessarily level 40. I reckon the end game is probably when you get access to Ragman level 3 and you get the Gen 4 mobility. At that point, you have level 4 Peacekeeper if you've been doing your tasks. You have access to the fast MT, the FAL, the RSAS, the M4, all the good end game guns. And I think they need to go the opposite direction. I think they need to slow down the progression of the game and like stagger it out a bit, like make us really work for things, make it more difficult. And I'm not even 100% sure myself at this stage what I'd like to see them change with regards to that. But something I'd love to see is for people that love grinding out games like that, like myself, to just make it longer for the people that want it to be a longer experience. Like, similar-ish to what they're doing in Call of Duty with the prestige system. I think that would have a great place in Tarkov with some kind of stupid cosmetic thing It doesn't have to be an unlockable, that'll give you an advantage over everybody else in the game. I wouldn't care if it was just a cosmetic item. Just give us the option to keep grinding over and over again, just for some stupid little badge or something, and that would be that'd be something I'd love to see in the game.
So the first thing that comes to mind with that is that the way that you play the game now is not the way that you're even intended to play the game in the future, right? But when they have the open world and they have traders all over the place, they could take the time to implement something like a prestige system. I have no idea if that's a 2-day thing or a 2-month thing or a 2-year thing. But when I'm picturing when the game comes out in 1 or 20 years, however many it is, that it's a completely different progression. They're going to have the quests they have now. They say they're placeholders. All of the XP and everything. Everything's going to be so different that if this was a shipped game now that I went to GameStop and bought for my Xbox, I'd be pissed about the progression being totally lame because the replayability is terrible. But given that they've changed so many things and add so many things, and a lot of the stuff is placeholders to probably honestly test mechanics and to test things like hit reg and server performance. And so those are the things that I think we have to sort of maybe deal with and work around while they figure out a lot of the basics. But yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think?
So pretty much, I've leveled to 40 probably more than anyone here, but the issue is there's no end game. There'd be no problem going to 40 in 30 minutes to 30 hours. It doesn't make any difference if the end game can hold it forever, kind of thing. The issue is there is no end game. I think I totally agree with Tweak though. It's too easy now. But I like the idea that casual players have the ability to get to 40. So there's no more complaints about there's a wipe, because a lot of people would be turned off because of wipes, because they put all that time into getting to being able to use that gear, and as soon as they get it, they lose it because they've put all that time in. They never got the good chance to use it. They removed a lot of tasks a long time ago that were actually really hard. I actually searched Cotton Punisher Part 6 tonight. It used to be you had 1 hour to kill 20 bears, right? Now
that was fun.
That was fun. For me, as someone who's really competitive, timed quests were hated by the casual player because they'd never have the opportunity to complete it. But I wouldn't care if there was a quest line that was purely shit like that. Really difficult quests. Yeah, some people might cheese them. Good on them. But for me, I'd personally try and go do those quests. I think they've touched on it a little bit with the Mosin. They've got the 4 PMCs in a woods run. That's like the very last of the Mosin quest line. But Punisher Part 4 used to be kill 25 scavs in 1 hour on customs. They changed that to 2 hours, and then they removed the timer. Then Punisher Part 6 used to be kill 20 bears in 1 hour, and then they changed it to 30 bears in 3 hours, and then they removed the timer. That's the kind of stuff that would make me grind particular quests for the fun of it. Took Cotton 4 attempts to get.
I think that's the thing. But people think, I should just be able to do this the first time. Well, we'll go back to Dark Souls because I think that has a really good difficulty curve. Did you kill the bosses in Dark Souls every time the first time? Be a pretty shit game if you did, bro.
Well,
could only take you about fucking 2 hours to finish. Yeah, exactly. And that's the background I come from. I spent months grinding, on the early access servers to the new patches. I would spend ages in there grinding the raids, working out strats and stuff. I have seen the raid bosses in Wrath of the Lich King. I definitely saw them more than my girlfriend. She left me when I was playing too much WoW. That's fun. That's cool. You're spending time with your boys.
So one of the things I think we have to do, and I think the devs have to do, is really focus on what the root problem is. And I think a lot of people have a hard time, and I have this, with my software career, people have a hard time articulating what the problem is. Everybody says time quests suck. I hate timed quests. The problem is not that the quest has a timer. The problem is that there are certain things that are blocked behind it that aren't just benefits. They're not just prestige items or skins or whatever. It's like you can't get the key or that you need for this other quest line. So like people keep mentioning daily quests, monthly quests, weekly quests, whatever. If there were just things that you got rewarded for the challenge, then the people who have problems with it aren't blocked from progressing through the game. And people that love the challenge can reap the benefits of it. I think that's like a good way to balance it. The problem, like I said, is not the timers. It's that you need to be this good to progress through the game. And I think that's I like that personally, but that's prohibitive, I think, to growing a community to all skill levels.
You're exactly right with the issue was that Part 6 had the Epsilon container. And majority of the player base, well, I say majority, a lot of the player base had standard edition, so they didn't have the Gamma container, therefore they wanted to get the Epsilon. If you can't complete the quest, you can't get the biggest container, therefore it's fucked. Valid. I think that's 100% valid, and it's right. Maybe don't have probably the most important item in their game for a standard user locked behind a very, very, very difficult task, but maybe have it on something else, and then still have those very difficult tasks for people that like to just have the fun of trying to beat an achievement, for lack of better words.
But one thing that you could do that I think would be really, really easy to add to the game is after level 40, after level 50, whatever, wherever you put it, like probably level 50 this patch, level 40 last patch, every level you get, just add a new row to your inventory. Should increase your inventory size. Something to work towards. I want a bigger inventory. I'm gonna keep leveling. Like, it's not super difficult. Reduce the prices by 1% for every level you get. I don't know. Something simple.
Yeah, just small incentives. But it goes back to Veritas saying that if this isn't the game that they want to have eventually, but the issue is this is the game we've got now.
But it doesn't like matter what they want to have eventually. These are just really simple things that they can put in there to make the game last longer than a month, and then we would want to keep playing it and streaming it. Like the one thing that I think about this game right now is if I watched you play this game, if this was my first time coming into this game and I watched you play this game, Pest, and this is on PlayStation 1, I'd rent it from Blockbuster and take it back. That is what I would be doing. I would rent this game for a week, play it on PS1 for a week, and then take it back. That is exactly what I would do with the EFT. I'm already level 40, and I took this wipe really easy, like not even barely trying. I know that I've played a lot of the game. I play like 6-7 hours a night, but when I was a kid, I'd play 6-7 hours a night of PlayStation. You don't achieve this kind of thumb physique without getting there, bro. But this is the kind of game that you would rent from Blockbuster for a week at the moment, and it needs just something, just a multiplayer with ranked or something like that.
Arena. It needs arena. Let's be honest.
Arena.
Yeah.
You got the best gunplay in the world on any game, yet we can't do a proper competitive 1v1, 2v2, 3v3, 5v5 mode.
Yep.
It's what's killing us. Even if the arena was fucking buggy as all fuck, at least it gives us something to fucking rage about besides something else. Like Scavs.
I had a really good idea for an arena style game where it's sort of like capture the flag. You could have it literally on any map. What you do is you place and it fits in with the theme. You place a radioactive isotope on the map somewhere, and everyone has fucking Geiger Muller counters.
Geiger counters.
And you can see where it is within a certain radius, and you put it in the middle of the map. Whoever picks it up and extracts with it wins. Can sell that for 200,000 rubles or something like that. That's all it is. That's all the map. There's no loot on it. There's no scavs. Just a Geiger Muller counter just putting you towards the radioactive isotope. Everyone knows where you are when you've got it. Everyone's fighting now. Once you die, you're out. Too bad. Like, I don't know whether you have it so your gear gets taken in it. It doesn't really matter. I mean, you might as well. People are going to hatchet run it and try and get it and then charge off with it with maximum strength, like Ghost. It's it's like, well, he wouldn't hatchet run it, no. But I think that it'd be a really easy way, a really easy end game to implement. But just it doesn't have to be forever. It doesn't have to be in the game forever. It's just a stopgap for a little while.
So I think the issue that would come from that, as much as I would love that, and I think it would be fantastic, is that with such a small dev team, what they'd then have to do for the next weeks is move away from bug fixes and all that other shit to they need to like quadruple their staff to meet, I think, what is the demand for features and fixes. But then that's a whole other can of worms. Like, Slush, coming from a software background, and that as soon as you want to add a new feature, well, now there's 100 new potential bugs. There's 10,000 new people angry about the bugs that you've just created with this new feature, and that you're not fixing because you created this new feature. That they're really kind of screwed no matter what they do. They're damned if they do, they're damned if they don't. People either complain about content, there's no content, or we haven't gotten new maps, or why are we putting out new content? Why are they putting out new maps when XYZ is broken? It really is a lose-lose. No matter what they do, there's always something we wish they had done, and I think it comes down to resources.
So, from a development perspective, could you guys actually do coding? Say I really just legitimately wanted to copy-paste factory, and then to queue for this alternate factory, you had to queue as a 3-man, so you'd only go against another 3-man. There's 2 spawns instead of 6. You spawn on one side, one team spawns on the other. Don't even need to have a leaderboard for it. You could literally just have one map where it's the 6 max players, 3v3 only. And that would be it. I would be happy with that. And just so I got constant 3-man battles on factory, winner takes all. But we all die.
With no tech debt and properly architected code, that's a weekend's worth of work. With a code base that's been shit on, I'm sure, by 1,000 people over the course of 10 years, that has, issues with outdated engines and tons of tech debt and spaghetti code and all kinds of issues. That is literally a worst nightmare. Like, my worst nightmare at my job would be to implement this specific super easy feature. Should be super easy, right? Whenever anybody thinks that it's easy, it's almost always the complete opposite. And the things that people envision are super, super hard are generally way easier, because especially new stuff that's completely independent, like a new map. Making a new map is easier than copying factory, because factory probably has 1,000 bugs that have been latent in it forever. Making a new map, you get to start fresh with a brand new file, and it's
and they like, you look at interchange, that probably has a completely different optimization way to that it works. To, like, when they made factory, they probably use this specific optimization way. All of the objects on there have this specific code in them. That's why, like, things fall through the floor on factory, because they probably have this class of collisions on them, whereas every other map has this class of collisions on them. And it's as they're going, they're upgrading, and they're trying to make every map that they build in the future easier to build and better. And they just, it's a question that's infinity. Like, there's a great example of that. It's like, someone approaches a developer and says, we want an application that tells us whenever someone takes a picture of a bird in a national park. That'll cost $2,000. And we want us to tell them what kind of bird it is. That'll cost 10 million. Like, it's a simple thing. Seems simple enough. It's gonna cost shitloads more. Like, it's
Well, Prophet made the point that the game's made a lot of money. Why can't they expand their team and make more people help out? I got no idea. Like, honestly, I'm just a gamer. I'm not a coder. I'm not a business runner. I'm just the. Can anyone help out?
It's not easy to find good people. Yeah. It's not easy to find good people, and you don't want people working. There's only so many, like, remote folks that you're gonna want, because there's issues with time zones and all that kind of stuff. My company is near the Boston area, and we have a hard time finding people that we think are competent that we'd want to join our team. So to think that you could just get 75 people to come work for your company, when you literally have a local office that you want them to come to because you generally have better results, it's harder than you'd think.
Brain drain, man. Some country like Australia suffers from it massively. No one wants to develop in Australia. The pay is extraordinarily low. The government does not fund any kind of game development. Everyone just moves to America. I can imagine it being the same in Russia. I cannot think that Russia's infrastructure or games funding would be any better than Australia's. Like, it just doesn't. I don't know anything about like the government funding for arts development or game development in Russia, but I would assume it would be worse than Australia's. And why would you want to work there? You have a degree in computer science. You have the ability to earn over $200,000 a year and live in a super nice place. And you decide to stay in St. Petersburg, where you're only going to earn fuck all because the government won't help you fund your projects. It's not going to happen. Like, people are leaving, man.
Well, that's
just want to throw this out there real quick. Do you guys know how many people work for Battlestate Games? Just out of curiosity.
I've got a guess of 70.
I've always guessed that they've got somewhere between like 30 and 50 devs, but I don't know what that's based on.
Well, it's 80 plus. There was an article written about them in the one of the Unity dev blogs that the Battlestate Games development team was a group of 80 plus people.
Could some of those be contractors, or is that developers, or does that include like interns and marketing folks? And
that's the thing. It's not stated specifically whether that's the amount of people that actually work in the studio or whether it's, you know, people that are working elsewhere for the company or interns, etc. But that is just a rough number, because for some reason, a lot of the I noticed a lot of the comments coming back to me, like off the video on YouTube and Reddit, were saying, like, people were saying, no, it's a tiny little company, it's a small little, you know, independent company, and there's only 15 people working there. And I don't know where people got that number from, but yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there.
80 seems like such an awkward number to have. I've been a part of teams that were 4, and I've been a part of teams and I've been a part of companies that have 10,000, and I feel like the in between of 80, 90, 100, that's like, it almost feels like the worst. Yeah, the worst amount of people.
I think that would be like it's like 10, like 5 to 10 developers, 5 to 10 art designers, 5 to 10 PR managers. Like it's going to be that kind of, 5 to 10 sound guys. Like you've seen in the videos before, they have like sound guys. They go and record rivers and guns and shit like that, and that kind of stuff. But I can't remember what I was going to say. Anyway. So I completely lost my train of thought there. But I remember now. One of the things that sort of like gets me is that a lot of people are sort of blaming the developers on this sort of thing, and they're saying, "Oh, it's the devs, like this kind of shit." It's not the developers that are choosing to fix these specific bugs. They will be handed down orders from the top of the chain. Veritas knows this. I know this. You will be told to fix a certain bug, even if you think it is the worst fucking thing to do. Excuse my French. Stop swearing as much. Even if you think it is the worst possible thing to do at this possible time, even if you think I could just do another job for 2 weeks and then it'll make all of these other jobs in the future fine, they will say, no, hard code a crappy fix for this right now. The community is going crazy. You have to be on this now. That's where their all of their drive is. That's where all the direction is coming from. It may kill their drive to do good work. Sometimes it does. It's happened to me. If you are being led in these directions and doing this kind of thing, sometimes it can make it really hard for you to build a good code base, because you've got people that don't code driving a team that has no idea. They have no idea what they're doing, but they're telling you what to do. Like, I would go to meetings and someone would say, "Can you do this?" And I would go, "Oh no, we've never tested that on this platform. That could take months." And my boss would just go, "Yep, we can do it." And that was it. It was done. It had to be delivered in 2 weeks. That's a pack a day for me in 12-hour days for the next 2 weeks. Like that's how it is.
It's people that don't code telling you how you should code and architect your stuff and how you should implement things, and people who don't use the product or who don't represent the community making decisions about what the features should be. Yeah, it's always a recipe for disaster.
That's one thing I find. Like a lot of people are always devs, this, devs that, devs fuck this, devs hate this, devs have done this. It's not the devs. They're not deciding what they're doing. They're just working as hard as they can. It is Battlestate as a whole, probably the project management of the entire thing. And it seems to be that the game is exhibiting what I, as having project management experience in the past, would consider to be scope creep, in the fact that they are just going and expanding into what they believe is the right thing to do. But I'm sure Nikita is a fantastic guy and absolutely loves the game. But as a project, they have set a roadmap. They've said we're going to release this map, this map, this map, this map. The gaps between the maps are getting longer and longer. They're releasing maps that are not even on the roadmap. They're not adhering to the roadmap at all. They're just they're just driving towards random things now. The scope is creeping. It's the perfect way to kill a project. Are they doing it because the game exploded and they've got heaps of money now and they can focus on different things? Maybe, but it's like it seems to me that it's less about the devs fucking things up and it's more about the entire project just sort of
direction
expanding and losing direction. It needs to be refocused to a razor point and fix itself. And that comes back the devs.
Comes back full circle to, like, we don't need 100 maps and 10,000 guns and a million things. We need like a good set of core fundamentals that then they could build off of. But try convincing a community of however many thousands of people that are playing the game. We're not going to do anything for 4 months that it's going to take us to, to re-architect everything and to get the fundamentals working. The game will die in that time if they do nothing. It's literally damned if you do, damned if you don't. They're gonna limp along.Ey're gonna create 10 bugs for every 3 features that they do, and that's just how the software is going to work. And it's slowly going to get better, and it's going to take a few years. And in my experience, that's what happens with basically every software project.
In the I can't even remember right now, but when you load up the game of Tarkov, go to pick a map screen. There's like 7 or 8 maps. I think there's 8. Maybe, like, this is my mind. Get those done. Get the original plan done. Then worry about all the extra cool stuff. I honestly don't know what goes through the world of BSG headquarters, but it's kind of like, oh, that'd be cool to add. Oh, this would be sick. Let's get fucking this in there. And it's just like, oh my god. The roadmap for 2018, they've hit a few now. I remember we spoke about this not too long ago, like maybe 2 months ago, and they'd hit like 1. They've hit a few of that roadmap, but there is a lot that hasn't been hit. And when I said the Tarkov wouldn't be released until 2020 at best, maybe 2021, I even feel like that's far-fetched sometimes. To be honest, like, I don't know. This is me, just my tangent.
But no, there is also occasions where, like, you will be coding something and it'll look like very little progress. And this is something that happens a lot in coding. You'll be coding along, doing your shit. It'll seem like nothing is happening. You're doing all background stuff. It shows absolutely no surface value at all. It's all just background API stuff or whatever that you want to be doing. And then all of a sudden it just goes, bam, new map, bam, new map, bam, new map, because you've made a really good architecture. Like it's when, like, if you're building a game engine, that will take months, even years, before literally anything is displayed in 3D. But all of a sudden it's like, oh, we've got a game engine, now we can build games. Like, it's
all right. So what about Uni 2018 Slush?
Well, upgrading to that. Oh, that's a tough one.
It's all about building a foundation. If your foundation's all rickety and adding a new room, a new shiny new room is going to be great until the shiny new room falls apart underneath the crap that it was built on.
Yeah.
See, that's the thing. Like, they've also openly stated that, like they said this on the podcast, that a lot of the problems that keep repeating are because of the baseline, spaghetti code that was written on the original version of Unity that they were first working on, and they're currently trying to work all that out of the game and build new foundations. But, like, in doing that, it's just everything just keeps getting mixed up and wires keep getting crossed,
I think that a lot of people think that upgrading to a new version of Unity is just loading up Unity and just going upgrade. Whereas, like, if I don't know, anyone that's ever opened Unity before and put a player controller in knows that it feels nothing like Tarkov. Like, they have clearly made massive amounts of changes to the actual base engine. If they just upgrade straight to Unity, it will die. The entire game. They could try it, but it'll get so many errors. The game wouldn't even launch if they did that. They would need to spend like it's not wise of them to just go, okay, upgrade and then we'll just fix the errors. They need to go through and find out what have they changed of the actual base classes of the Unity engine and how will that translate to the new engine and then move it across. It's a long process.
What I think honestly they need to do is change the how the work is sliced up such that rather than put out 10 features and then have 10 people working on features and one person working on bugs, it needs to be one person working on 2 people working on features and 8 people working on bugs until finally you start to bang down all of that tech debt and you're able to make progress while still providing new content, but just in smaller quantities. We get a gun a month instead of 7 guns every 6 weeks or whatever, because I think the priorities right now should be based on stability, performance, playability.
That was 10 too.
And then it can shift later into like, now the game is done and we're just shipping DLC every week with new patches and new skins and new guns and but right now I think they're too focused on adding more, which is awesome if nothing ever broke. But every time they add more, they break the thing that they added, and then also the old stuff, which is not like I'm not even flaming the devs. That's literally just what happens. Where what I can do is I can take 50% more time, 75% more time to implement the feature and do it right, and it'll get out in 6 weeks, or I could rush it out in 4 and then spend the next 10 weeks fixing bullshit, right? So do we want crap for 14 weeks or do we want something really nice for 6 or 8? And product says, well, we can get something in 6. Cool, let's do it. And it's like, what? No, that's not what I wanted. And, then everybody hates you for it. And all the developers sit and they read the app reviews all day and feel sad and depressed and want to look for other jobs.
But people at the head don't think about that. They just want the shiny new thing, and it doesn't matter how rickety the house is as long as there's a golden rooster on the top of it for a little literal metaphor that is in the game right now.
After
they just want new content.
It felt good. The game felt really good before 10.5.
Night and day.
Yeah.
Like the hit reg and the ragdolls, it was like a totally different game. Yeah, it was unbelievable. And then after a few weeks without any patches, it started to degrade. It's almost like if you have a mobile app that you have open for a while and it starts to just like there's a big memory leak and it just starts to feel crappy. But it's almost like you get that feeling with like the servers where it just everything feels great and then it feels like trash. I wonder what that is.
But you guys know better than me. It's just no, but like seriously, like I remember like after 10.2 hit and people were like, oh, that was a bit of a hype up for nothing, and I was like, I'm loving this right now. Like the game felt really good, and people were like, oh, they didn't.
Yeah, I liked it.
Because remember the patch notes? We were going through the patch notes, and it was like 400 things long. And we're like, they never write patch notes like this. What the fuck's going on here? And
yeah, 10.2 was one of the best patches I've ever seen. I know it didn't have a new map. I know it didn't have
new guns and new random shit.
New guns or anything. Best patch I've seen.
They fixed
100%.
Do you guys remember just before they released the update that added the M1A and how great the game was then? Then all of a sudden that M1A patch dropped and everything went to shit. Whatever.
What came with that?
I don't even remember. I just remember specifically that when they added the M1A, the game just took a huge step backwards. That was in April, I think, last year.
Before patch 9, it was 0.7. It was 0.7. It was April 18th.
I don't even remember.
18th of April when my YouTube kicked off.
Yeah. When my channel kicked off. I feel so new.
That's when I put out all the
I hadn't been playing long enough, I think.
Mechanic and Ragman Gods. Channel took off.
Yeah. That's when I drank beer and played Tarkov and my channel kicked off.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. It was either 0.7 or 0.8 anyway, but it yeah, Ted 2 was really good. And this is why I put out my video where I was like one step forward, two steps back. Flea Market's a fucking amazing addition. We haven't touched on the whole trader thing. We'll get on that soon, but the actual flea market itself is absolutely amazing. I think Nikita came out and said he's based it off EVE Online, and it's exactly that. It's you go on EVE Online's market, and it's pretty full on, and it's just like that. The healing and meta animations, I've found 2 bugs with them so far. That are one's pretty crazy. Apparently, I haven't fully tested it yet. You can stop a healing animation halfway through. It's as long as it's not a bleed or a break. You stop a healing animation halfway through and it'll still fully heal, which is kind of weird. But
yeah, I've tested that as well.
And then I'll sometimes get a healing animation just doesn't heal. It just does this thing all the time, like he's doing a dance. Honestly, I think the second one's been fixed. But where was I going with that? Moving to traders now. This is a really interesting one because it's. I think Tweak. Correct me if I'm wrong. You said that it's not a complete. It hasn't got the full player effect on the whole market. Therefore, changing it to 3 hours is kind of just like saying, "Hey, we're going to test out this cool thing, but we haven't got it all there yet." So it's kind of like, just deal with it. What are your opinions on the whole 3 hour thing? 3 hour trade.
I think it's just putting the. I think it's just putting the cart before the horse. That's the right phrase, isn't it? Yeah, I think it is. But anyway, like they've talked about this on the podcast, where the whole idea of the flea market is obviously eventually they want to get to a stage where it's a player-run economy. They want everything to go through players, and the less interaction the players have with traders, the better. You know, they want their own little functional economy there with people who, you know, their job in EFT might just be a trader. You know what I mean? They'll have their own storefronts eventually. This is all stuff that they've spoken about on the podcast before. But what I don't understand is, especially in its infancy, the flea market currently is just open to people abusing the system. And that's something, you know, we were all guilty of first week of the patch. Hell yeah, I'm going to make, you know, 20k off every sallow I want to sell here because I leveled up quick enough to do it. And look, you know, most of us here are guilty of doing that to make a quick buck at the start of the white. You didn't buy 100% of the stock, though. Oh, no. Yeah, that's what I was getting to. But when you get to the stage where the second that the traders reset, that all the high-level ammo is immediately bought out by what I'm assuming is either like groups of people using macros, because like that shit's going immediately. Either that or there's just a ton of people sitting there ready to buy it up immediately.
A ton of people.
And then they're just straight away putting it right onto the flea market for, you know, 4 or 5 times the price, even more in some cases. And for me, it's like, okay, I've put in the work, I've put in the time, I've got this stuff, but oh, hang on, this shiny new MP7 that I have 15 of them chilling in my stash that I can never get ammo for unless it's the hollow points. You know, because, you know, this guy over here who probably doesn't really play the game that much, he plays the flea market more than he probably does raids, is buying out all the ammo before I can even have a chance at grabbing 1,000 rounds that'll last me, I don't know, a couple of hours. But
yeah,
in increasing the trader times to 3 hours, all it's done is made it frustrating without having any of the other player-built economy in there, any systems that would be there to combat people abusing the system. And I just don't really understand why they decided to change it to 3 hours when none of the other, you know, systems they'd spoken about have been implemented yet. It doesn't make sense to have it in the game right now.
So I understand why they did it, but and how they could have possibly missed or overthought or you know, had it been an oversight that they wouldn't realize that people are just gonna macro out all of the stuff. What I think should be easy for us to do is say, okay, clearly they missed something, clearly they made a mistake, or clearly, you know, they're moving towards something. In the interim, we need to either make it so that there's a limit per person or make it so that the limit of the item is unlimited. I think making the item unlimited ruins the whole supply-demand factor of it and sort of kills what they're trying to go towards with the free market. Whereas I think putting a limit per person is much more realistic. Because in the real world, there's a limit on the supply of things that a producer can produce, which controls the price because you're controlling the supply. But then there's also a limit on how much any company is willing to sell to any individual, right? I use the metaphor on the stream where when the new iPhone comes out, if there's 300 people waiting in line, Apple's not going to sell 300 to the person in first in line. Oh, I made my money. No, Prapor would do that because he's a moron. But he'd much rather sell 1 to 300 people than 300 to 1, because that's how a free market works. You want happy customers. Otherwise, you'll have somebody to fill that market need.
That depends if you want raw capitalism or a socialist touch on it, though, doesn't it? We can.
Don't think that they're playing like 3D political socioeconomic chess here. They just didn't think about it.
No, I've suggested the limit per PMC on my stream before as well, and I think that's the best idea for that. But once again, is coding that super difficult? Probably yes. Probably actually insanely difficult. You will probably have to keep into account how many ammo each single person has. That's something completely new. Is that a thing that happens when you open the actual traders? Is it recognizing who you are? And well, I suppose it's recognizing a level, so it's getting some kind of ID, but it could be insanely difficult to code. They could be really hard. Just set it to a lot.
What they need to do to replicate what I think they want is, or a stopgap is, to get rid of the traders altogether for most of the items. Make it so that Therapist sells like painkillers and bandages and AI2s and that's it, or whatever, and then have everything else, the supply, be much more. If you had a flea market and you opened up the marked room and there was a cache of 100 GPUs, now like, oh shit, I can now, the supply isn't completely made up so that it's just 10,000 every 3 hours. It actually becomes organic, and I don't know, maybe that's a bad idea. That was just the first thing that came to mind. But
no, actually, I like that idea more. Have less items sold by the traders and have more sold by people that find stuff in the game. That way, you're actually putting back the emphasis on going to raids to actually loot. Right now, you just literally, I don't know, you can focus more on just making money off the flea market just by traders like buying items and selling them to other people that are lower level that need requests, or they want to try out an armor because they're not that higher level. Instead, you make it so the emphasis is on actually do maybe barter trades, more barter trades, less actual straight ruble trades, and then more looting straight from raids, where you put the items that you find in raids up on the flea market, bringing more people into scavenging in a survival apocalyptic fucked up world.
Okay, just go into the. Sorry, you go, Twig.
No, I was just going to say, I believe that's the end goal. I mean, they were talking about it the other day in Clean Stream, where the Gen 4 armor should be barter only. And I believe Nikita just said that himself in the chat, and I don't think it's meant to be just purchasable right now. I'm pretty sure they fully intend on making a lot of these endgame items barter only, and also adding in ammo packages, like, the 120 round boxes you find at BT or BS around, adding in those boxes for barter only in, at Prapor, whatever trader that sells them is going to be eventually the goal that they're trying to get to with regards to how the economy is supposed to work. It's not just about it's not about who has the most money and who can buy the most stuff. And, it's going to come down to, oh shit, I don't have any power cords that I need to trade for this ammo that I need for this gun. Well, better go do a scav run, try and get some, or, do a pistol run and go try and scavenge some from interchange or something like that.
Or trade something for power cords on the market, even.
Yeah, exactly.
And,
yeah,
that's that guy needs spark plugs for a different kind of ammo because he has this kind of gun.
Yeah, right now the market is completely driven. 99.9% is driven by the price you can purchase it from the trader, which is, it's such a fake sort of thing. But I think what we need to do is just be realistic and reasonable about. They implemented this system. We know it's a stopgap. We know it's an intermediate system on the way to some end thing. I think it's much more reasonable to say, let's not have them build 20 new features to make this interim thing work. Let's just have them patch something to prevent the annoying thing that we experience during this interim thing work, which is limiting per person, right? Like something simple, or simple, I don't know, right? But something temporary to help what is a pain point.
Yeah,
and if they can patch on the fly ricochet values, you know, I think that that's something that they should be able to at least build in going forward to the architecture, the ability to do things like that.
And the simple fix for the market would be increase ammo quantities. That'd be it. I think that's the most peeve for most people, is wanting to use a specific gun with a specific ammo. Like I can't buy the full armors at the moment. I've just been using the high mobility ones. It's like, not a big deal. But it's just like, but if I can't use my MP7 ammo, that's frustrating. I want to be able to kill people.
Do you think that's better than if they put a limit like 1,000 rounds per person per 3 hours? Like, I think that ends up being less of a fake market force and more, because once you increase the supply, you ruin the price.
If I had 1,000 rounds per 3 hours for MP7 ammo, I'd probably save 4,000 rounds. I'd buy my 3 hours worth before resets, and then go hard with an MP7 for like an hour, because I take in 200 plus rounds of raid, shoot 80% of them. So for me, that's like 6 raids for 1,000 rounds. 67 raids.
One thing that so Odd Boss has just pointed this out is they need to add more ammo to the loot table. Like, why? Okay, so I am in an apocalyptic situation. I need a gun to survive against baddies. I'll tell you the one thing. There's 3 things I'm picking up: water, food, ammo. I've got my gun. Why don't they have shitloads of ammo? Like, why don't these guys have boxes of ammo? They're scavenging for stuff. They should have massive boxes of ammo. They should be grabbing that to take that home and, I don't know, defend their fucking hovel or whatever from baddies. Grab a heap of ammo. I think the scavs should have boxes of ammo more often than not. I think it should be like pretty much guaranteed that you're going to get some kind of ammo.
So one of the things that also Nikita mentioned that I don't think a lot of people knew about, or at least I saw him post on Reddit, that they're planning on, I don't know when, putting a limit per person on traders. So I don't know if that's this week, if that's next month or whatever, but I think, like, wouldn't that just solve it? Wouldn't that just solve the problem?
I missed that. I was reading chat.
putting a limit on the number of the quantity of items that any one person could purchase within some amount of time. How does that not make the flea market you still have a limited supply? So the price still, if there was an unlimited supply, then it makes it so that the flea market is essentially, people are gonna be selling it for 1 ruble over the price of the trader, because everybody's just gonna bring it down to essentially the false floor. Whereas if there's still a limited supply, you're just gonna have a lot more people fighting for that sale, right? There's not going to be 10 million and there's not going to be 1. It's going to be 50. And as soon as you have 50 people competing, you're going to end up with a reasonable market value, in my opinion.
I think for me personally, the flea market, I want unrestricted at all. I like a fully player-end flea market where there's no set values. I just want to make that clear right now. So I don't think any restrictions on the flea market at all is a good idea. Make it 100% free reign. You can put up for 100 million rubles, or you can put up for 1 ruble. That's up to you. And trade whatever way you want. With the traders, I still like the idea more of moving towards a scavenging kind of world with barter trades over just using my rubles to buy cash. Buy bulk amounts. So if you just say you could buy, for this reset, you get, let's go with 3,000 ammo. You could buy 10 armors and 4 guns. Would it work? Probably. Would it be annoying? Probably more. I personally don't know how it'd be implemented well that someone who plays non-stop for 3 hours straight can enjoy it, and that plays for a fast-paced kind of game, as well as the person who just spends 45 minutes plus into a shoreline run 5 times in a reset, compared to me playing factory 40 raids in 3 hours. I don't know. I'm just putting it out there. Like, I'm just trying to figure out how it balances out over the players playstyles. Because this game is the best thing about this game is you have the playstyle of any way you want to play it. You could be a fully aggressive person. You can extract camp. None of them's wrong. None of them's right. You know, that's the best thing. One of the best things about this game. The less restrictions you put in, the better, in my opinion. You're better off just removing stuff and making it so there's other ways of getting it. Yeah, that Discord notification is really annoying. Just give me 1 sec, guys. I'm going to lose the picture for a sec.
Put it in a streamer mode.
It should be in streamer mode.
Yeah, I wonder. I can't think of any other thing that annoys me about the flea market, honestly, other than the limited supply. And like the people with, I mean, essentially then either people with macros or bots or whatever, or just like 1% of the people being able to be quick enough to buy the stuff. It seems like it's been operating pretty well, and it's been a nice quality of life improvement for completing tasks and finding things that otherwise you'd have to do 1,000 runs searching through bookshelves for. I don't know. What do you think, Tweak? Is there anything?
As far as I'm concerned, the flea market is one of the best things they've ever implemented into the game. I think, yeah, it had a shaky start for like the first day or two with a couple of bugs here and there, but other than that, it was, it's perfect. Like, it's great, and there's only a couple of things they need to change in order to make it perfect. And I think that by the time they're finished adding in all the systems that they want to have in the game, I think it'll be a great balance between the auction house, the flea market, and players likely, having limited access, to their traders, where it's only going to be like barter items. It's going to open up a lot of trades where, barter items are going to be a thing. Your money is going to be less important. And I think going forward, that should be the way the game is. Like, it should be harder to acquire all of this end game gear instead of just saying, oh, did a factory run, got a couple of 153s and a few other bits and pieces, sell these. Yeah, buy a Gen 4. Now, next raid, I got a Gen 4,
I like the idea that if
it should be harder.
Someone fully geared, that was an exciting time. Like,
yep.
Holy shit, this guy's wearing a fort and an Elton. I'm going to go out of my way to try and kill this guy. Instead of like, oh, there's another Fort Elton guy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, get excited over top end gear loot instead of it being common. Because it's going to be super common. Give it like 2 more weeks when heaps of people are level 40. Like, I'm talking heaps.
It already is.
It's going to be mass Gen 4s, Fort Armors, Eltons, Last MTs.
The last 2 days on NA, I got absolutely caught, and I had like literally you guys saw how much I was raging last night. Oh my god!
You don't rage, mate.
Because I got caught in like the transitioning point where like a large chunk of people hit the point where they could start to acquire that stuff, and I'm still running around as if 10% of the people are hatchlings, 30% of the people have P.A.K.A. on, and nobody's got helmets. And then all of a sudden, it's like every raid I run into a dude with an Alton, and it's like, shit, I'm still using PS ammo. I haven't even had to think about the armor penning ammo at all. It hasn't even been a thing until all of a sudden now, when everybody's running the high end gear. Now it's there's bugs around helmets and armor and stuff. It's like, oh wow, I got to change my playstyle.
I've been using the Val. That's your go-to. The Val or the 995, man. Like, it's the only ammo you can buy that's strong enough. A Val isn't strong enough to pen a helmet, but its sheer volume as it's coming out of the gun is perfect. 995 is powerful enough to kill anything. They're the only ammos you can buy in unlimited supply. The only reason I've been using them. I like other guns. I'll use other guns, but I'm not going to until I can kill people with them.
I've been using 2 guns, SA58 and the Val. I can get pretty much unlimited M62, M61, and SP6 ammo.
That won't last for long, though. M61 won't last for long. Nope.
It's too expensive.
Tweak was saying that in his video.
It's $5 a round.
So's 995 almost. Cost $1,000 for 300 of them, man. That doesn't matter to someone that has 500 million rubles. They don't give a shit. Because they're going to make $1 off every round. And how many did they just buy? 40,000.
something about the top 1%. This is how economics works, etc.
Seize the means of production.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing is,
I feel like it's we're the meta switching, as Slush and I were saying. Like, we move over to an SA58 or an ASVL because the ammo's there and it's available. to use. If it does go that M61 sells out, I guess once the demand goes, why is someone going to stock up, 600,000 M61 rounds if no one's buying them at the exuberant price? Exuberant. Anyway, Veritas.
To me, it all comes down to the fact that the supply always in this case, the supply always comes from businesses. None of us can be manufacturers. And by that I mean we can't, like what Oddboss said, we can't find large quantities of ammo. The only place to get ammo is prep or, and so because of that, the supply comes from one place. There is actually literally almost no competition. There's the trader, and then there's the few people that are able to buy from the trader. There's essentially, and the trader's limited by level. The person selling is not limited by level. So essentially, there's one person as a monopoly, and for everybody, it's prop board until everybody hits the level, and then they can buy it. And then everybody below them, it's the one person that just sets the price. And then the next person that sets the price 1 ruble below, and then run ruble below that. If we could, in the future, I'm sure, again, these are all things that in the future, it'll be great when we can make our own ammo, when we can find large caches of stuff, when you actually have to take the time to go to a trader and buy like 10,000 rounds, put it in a cart and haul it out of the raid, right? Like those are the things that are going to make realistic market pressures. Up until now, we need to not expect realistic market pressures. We need to expect a very light version of economy. And then we need to try to avoid issues that happen from people exploiting the game.
Yeah.
If you just put more ammo into the loot tables and then just took it completely off the traders.
Then you'd have to see the reaction to that. Honestly, that would be a day to be alive.
Yeah,
Holy
but once
shit,
again,
could you imagine?
Once again, your comfortability is not my priority, Tweak.
What was the adjustment they made like 3 months ago, 2 to 3 months ago, where they did something to traders? I think they changed the sell value of items to like 5%. Do you guys remember that? And you were unable to like make any money in a raid. And so like in a matter of like 24 hours, I went from being quite wealthy in the game to bankrupt. And because I was like buying all the top gear stuff. What did they do? Did they change? Was it the sell value?
Oh, they changed the sell value to 10%.
And they were just like, this isn't permanent. But that's all they said. It's like, is it 24 hours?
80,000 rubles. 80,000 rubles to gear up, and you'd kill 3 guys, and you'd walk out of there with 4,000 rubles worth of stuff. So there was no point in even getting into raids at all.
Not yet, at least. I think, yeah. Well, yeah.
The only way to make money was hatchet runs. Then.
Yeah. But it just shows that they're willing to trial and error stuff. I would like them to see. I'd like to see them trial some of the points about more ammo in raids and more ammo or less top tier loot on traders. I think they've got the all they have to do. They've just go to a spreadsheet or whatever, and they change their fucking values of how many items are sold on a trader. I'm fairly confident you said that's how it works, Slush, or something like that.
It has to be. It's on the server. I don't know if it's that easy. I don't know if it really is that easy. But if I was making a game and it was requesting these kind of things, it would be on some kind of database, and the database would send you back a amount that the trader has, an amount that it costs.
And they definitely can change the spawn value or the spawn rate of an item. Because remember when they made it so Bitcoins would spawn like 80% of the time? You'd have like 6 Bitcoins in a fucking safe. So they could definitely turn up ammo spawn rates and stuff like that, and just I guess you'd have to add extra spawn rates, spawn locations for ammo. But
yeah, that depends on what kind of there could be a different system for ammo spawning. There could be a different system for like 310 spawning and stuff like that. So I don't know, but I can't see it being ultra difficult.
Maybe the crates with the ammo in it, they just crank that up hard. It's like because they also changed the
just make it so that it's only the good ammo there.
BS ammo.
Get rid of
there.
Make it so that PRS should not spawn in a box. I should not see PRS on, like you've just debated me with candy, and then I pick it up and it's a bag of dog shit. You just wasted that spot.
It shouldn't even be in the game as far as I'm concerned. I don't know why PRS ammo's in the game. It's just there to debate new players.
Yeah.
That's all it is. Like, there's no reason.
Yeah. Those little white boxes, I'll go through an entire wipe without examining them because I just can't be fuck picking them up. I will look at them like, sometimes I'll mouse over them and it'll go examine them. I'm like, nah, I don't give a fuck.
And I'm paying for that now. I'm paying for that now because now literally I don't even know what ammo exists for the MP7. I'm not lying. I'm level 39 and I've never seen anything other than whatever SX. I don't even know what exists. And I don't think it's on anywhere.
There's APSX and there's the Action
FMJ
and FMJ.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, I get it.
Maybe
Man.
someday.
But that's the thing, though. You can't find that ammo in raid, though. It's not on the loot tables for whatever reason. Like, there should be boxes of that ammo lying around the place,
but
same as every other.
Have they modeled a box for it? Have they? Like, these are the kind of questions I guess.
As well.
I mean, you can't find SP5 or SP6 rounds, and how long's the Val been in the game? You know what I mean? Like, why is this? Even M61 rounds, M62s, M80 rounds, they can't be found.
I think the Val may not have been added as an ammo loot thingo because the Val is such a rare gun. Like, no one owns Vals. It's restricted. Even in Russia, you can't own a Val. Like, it's against the Geneva Convention to use one in warfare. Like, no one's just leaving ammo lying around for it. It's
until you get to level 37 or whatever, and then it becomes, oh, there's 8 billion rounds, right? So it's
yeah.
You if you want to model an economy, you have to do it fully. Otherwise, you're going to end up with all these weird market pressures and half-assed behaviors that aren't realistic. Yeah, I mean, if they limited the supply on the traders, increased the supply in world, you're then shifting you're shifting that, and that. But who knows, right? Like, what I'm proposing might be a great idea, but that could completely shift market pressures in some other way to break something else that, if they were to implement it, it'll break it. And then there'd be 4 other guys on another podcast all saying, why did those 4 idiots propose these 3 things when they didn't think about these other 4 things that would come from it? And so that's why I can be like annoyed and frustrated at the things that happen with the game and with bugs and with features and all that stuff. But I make it a point to never say these people are idiots. Why are they screwing up so bad? Like, make it personal, because there's so much going into something like creating a game like this.
Yeah, but Vladimir's sitting behind his computer, getting told to do the med animations, not going, I want to fuck their fucking chi up to this code's going to be so fucked. Like, they're not.
Yeah.
He's just trying to make his fucking paycheck go home and see his family. Yeah. He's not trying to like stuff us over.
Yeah. I can't wait to destroy this and then lose my job. So, have we touched on hackers yet? We haven't, have we? Have we got a list of items we want to go through? Because we talked about the market for a fair while.
Yeah. Go for it.
I'd like to touch on hacking for at least 10 seconds and talk about the anti-cheat that is in the game. Everyone that I've always had come into my chat has always said, why don't they just buy some anti-cheat? Why are they using their shitty in-house thing? Now, I had a couple of my mods go and actually look at the price of Easy Anti-Cheat, and the price is insane. It's $100,000 a month for an implementation plus more. It's completely ridiculous for them to pay that. They do not have the money to do that. To put it out there, BSG's financial records are of public record. They are a registered company in the UK. You can go and look up their financial records. $100,000 a month in the amount of time, in the amount of things that they have sold. Yes, it's fine for the first month, but they cannot continue to pay for Easy Anti-Cheat. The best way to do it is to code an in-house solution. Can we stop talking about putting Easy Anti-Cheat in the game and just solving all our problems? Because one, everyone knows what Easy Anti-Cheat is. A Battle Eye is more expensive than Easy Anti-Cheat Honda, and it's completely the costs that they pay for these are completely ludicrous. They need to code an in-house solution. It is the only thing that is possible. They are doing their best. They're not going to ban a single player because you ask them to ban a single player. They are going to find a way to ban everyone that is using a specific anti-cheat. They're not going to, okay, you've got 10,000 flies in your house. You don't walk around with a fly swatter, man. You call an exterminator. That's ridiculous. Okay, they are going to work their way through it. Yes, it takes a little bit more time to find a way.
Obviously,
but
they're trying to do something that's valid. They can make their own anti-cheat. That's perfectly acceptable. There's a lot of frustration with cheaters in the game. I don't really call cheater unless I see a speed hacker. It's usually obvious when someone's cheating and it's speed hacking, and it's not just a bit of desync. But I think Counter-Strike has, what's it called? The Overwatch system or some shit? Where people can, like, the community can go check out, you know.
Yeah.
We've got emissaries? Missionaries? I don't know. The people in Tarkov. Emissaries, that's the one. They're meant to be trusted members of the Battlestate crew. You know, maybe have some sort of reporting method for temporary, like, hey, this person should be on the radar. Go check out, you know, watch this person. I don't know if they've got some sort of replay methods. Or at least, you know, there's other ways that you wouldn't have to.
The problem that I have with that, though, is that the vast majority of people that are encountering what they call hackers is not always hackers. It's usually just a bug in the game. The game is buggy. The netcode is not the best. People teleport. You go back and watch your replays. Watch us get killed. I had a death before where I was shooting a guy. I went to aim at his head and then he just teleported 3 meters to the right. That's terrible anti-code. He's not speed. That's terrible netcode. He's not speed hacking. It's very hard to call cheater, and I highly doubt that someone has gone into every game they've played tonight and been killed by a hacker. I play 8 hours a night. I play 30 raids a night. I see one hacker a month. Are they just avoiding streamers? Do they not want to get caught?
I totally agree with you, man. I get people in every day that tell me, oh, I ran into hacker here, hacker there. Watch out for this guy's name. He's on this map right now. And I'm like, what server are you on? It's like NA. It's always NA. At least on EU servers, I've ran into 2 hackers. It's
always EU.
One of which, one of which I'm not even sure if he was cheating. It was sus. It was really sus. But the first one, I knew for sure he was a cheater. But like, that's 2 I've ran into so far this wipe. I barely run into cheaters. But apparently NA has this huge problem with them. But then again, we run into the case of where somebody just gets one tapped out of nowhere and then all of a sudden they think they were killed by a cheater because they thought from where they were, there was no way they could have been shot. We saw this in Blacksite when we used to take hacker reports. And people would post clips from their streams or their shadow play clips, and we'd watch through them. And it would be left up to us to determine whether they were cheaters or not. And a lot of the times people were posting clips. It was just like, how do you know this guy was cheating? You got one tap through a window and you didn't know where the guy was from a suppressed shot that was 100 meters away. It's like, you can't leave this up to the community to do, because if that was still a thing in Blacksite, it would be all we do over there. That's all we do all day, every day, is go over clips. And maybe 1 in every 10 clips, yeah, it was a cheater. But then even still, sometimes we're like, yeah, it was sus. But like,
I would be only saying that you do,
I don't know.
100% without a doubt, speed hack, moving around, doing, you know, those 1080s, fucking, yeah, they're laying on the ground.
Oh
going,
yeah.
Like I would like a method to get rid of those guys. Like they're the ones.
You can't call ESP though. Like I have legitimately had people message me and say, "Hey, my account has been banned. I was using ESP. I'm really sorry. I feel like I've let down the community." And I'm just like, what was your survival rate? And they're like 10%. It's like, are you really doing that much? You must be a terrible shot. Like it's not, people aren't using super detectable hacks all the time. If they're using speed hacks, yes, okay, you do see the odd speed hacker that's flying by like a Lamborghini, call it out. Okay, that's fine. But if someone's using ASP or aim hacks, you very, very rarely know that they are. It's so impossible to tell, man. You can't tell that. If someone you call it come up behind someone and they spin around instantly and one tap you. The fact is, you might be behind on the server. They might have just actually been looking at you all the time. They could have already been killing you by the time you're looking at them, man.
They could have had a small noise heard. They did a flick spin, did the best shot of their life. You can't confirm or confirm that wasn't just their Will Ferrell old school blackout moment during the debate. It just happens.
Yeah.
The best example of these things is when you happen to get killed by some super sketchy weird thing, and then you realize the person that killed you is a streamer. Even if you're streaming, so you're able to see it from both perspectives. The best clip I ever put up on Reddit was, and somehow I got flamed for it, was basically I was running down a corridor and a guy peeked out. This is a glass hallway in factory. The guy started spraying me and I was just eating bullets. All of a sudden, bang, I stopped and he was instant dead. On my screen, I was running. I saw him peek out, scared me. I accidentally fat-fingered prone, so went flat, and then I sprayed him in his face, and he didn't hit me with a single bullet. You see stuff like that, and that right there should be enough for any intellectually honest person to say, we can never know if someone's cheating or not in like 98% of the cases. And the people that claim that they got killed by ESP, they also have no idea how to tell, left and right sound, and they're playing on 7.1.
I've got a clip of two streamers. One guy is prone behind a
couch
on interchange.
Yeah.
100% cannot see him. On the other streamer's image, he was crouched behind it and he was just getting pummeled. Like, to the guy, he thought he was prone.
Standing up.
He was standing up. So it was like, on one person's screen, the guy's standing up, the other person's screen is prone. It's like, well, he was like, how was the guy able to hit me through the couch when he couldn't even see me? And the other guy's like, what an idiot, standing in the open.
Yeah. Just to clarify, we are not saying there are no hackers in Tarkov. I'm just saying that buying anti-cheat is really expensive. They're going to code their own, get used to it. They're not going to ban some dude that kills you twice because you had a crap day and you took a couple of clips of him. And 3, they're getting around to it. Give them some fucking time. Like, Valve still has cheaters. CSGO's been out for 10 years. Hey, never going to be perfect.
Yeah, it's
That's all
unfortunate.
I'm going to say about it.
I think just the point we're trying to make is, unless there's some guy speed hacking going with that prone thing around you, obviously trolling you, you never know. It could be desync, it could be anything. They could be hacking. It could be ESPN and aim hacking and all. But you just have no clue. I've stopped calling hack on my stream.
Did you just say ESPN?
Yeah, ESPN. And they could be playing ESPN in the background, like who knows, guys? Like, it's just what we're saying is just all right, guys. All right.
Yeah.
We all feel it, we all experience it.
Yeah. No, I just wanted to, because there's a lot of people that say, why don't they just buy anti-cheat? Why don't they just fix it instantly? Like, there's a few clarifications that I thought I wanted to give around what my opinions are on it, because it seems as though a lot of people come in just saying they should just fix the problem when it's
how hard can it be though? Can't be that hard.
Yeah.
All right. We're getting close to the 2 hour mark, so let's just quickly chat. If you want to spam some questions, we'll do a quick short answers the best that we can. Direct them at people, and then we'll that person can answer it, and then we'll wrap it up soon. I know Tweet's been up all night, and he's also got a date with a beautiful woman. And
don't rush because of me.
So, and I like to try and keep these around the 2 hour mark. So, So, open the floor to chat, and yeah. Do I think Scavs are too aimbody? Not really. No. At times, sometimes.
Batman Scavs. Can you expand, Evan, please?
Why allocate in a small business your coders and designers to develop new content when a company as small as Battlestate should be invested fully in the present issues? Am I missing something, or am I just a whiny consumer? You're not a whiny consumer. You just don't realize that if there's 30 people on a team, 10 of them are like experts in animations, 10 of them are experts in networking, 10 of them are, so you don't want the animations guy working on code bugs because he'll just screw it up more, right? So people have the things that they're good at, and they tend to kind of silo into the things that they're good at. So you don't, if you have 30 engineers, you don't have 30 people that can do and fix anything. So just keep that in mind.
With the leaderboard, people asking me about kill death ratios. I think you can use the leaderboard to test to see if someone is a hacker or a cheater. Thing is, if you have only played for a couple of hours and you only died like 2 or 3 times, but you were farming factory with your mates and using your mates as human shields, and you killed like 15 scavs a raid, kill like 150 scavs, die 1 time, you'll have 150 kill death ratio. Just take that into account. And there's some people that play really slow on Shoreline and other maps like that. 40-minute raids to kill 20 scavs. They don't die very often because they kill so many per
Someone
raid.
like Smoke.
Yeah,
Smoke never dies.
You know,
it's too careful.
So that gives the people to have a really high kill death ratio. Jump in, Slush, or
do you think it's worth playing the game right now? Hell yes. It's a great game. It's way better than any FPS I've played. I played Battlefield 5 on the beta release, and it had way more bugs than this. You would shoot people and they would teleport far further than scavs did.
I think just this is an answer to a question, but just guys, we absolutely love this game. We're all very passionate about it. Like Tweak and I, full-time streamers now. Slush, I don't think he's going to be too far away from going full-time, and Veritas wants to
finish next Wednesday.
And Veritas would love to stream full-time, and we're all very passionate about this game. I'll be honest, if this game is successful, it makes my life better, financially at least, but it doesn't mean the end of the world if the game doesn't succeed. But we do actually love this game. I started playing this game, I think all of us play this game now for about a year plus, and we wouldn't be able to play 2,000 plus hours each on a game that was shit. We all love it. We just are passionate about it, and we would like to give the opportunity to you guys to be able to hear our thoughts, opinions, grievances, all that kind of stuff on the game that we're so passionate about.
We love it. We live and breathe and eat it every day. All I do is Tarkov. When I'm not
fighting
doing
with your wife.
It's
you love her, and if you didn't love her, you know, it wouldn't be so painful. It wouldn't be so sad and hard. You know, you just leave.
I fight with her because I love her.
I think Twitchy wants to know what each of our streamer items would be. Tweak.
Would either have to be a set of purple gunners or I guess a big fuck off vape, I suppose. I don't know.
Veritas.
I've heard two things proposed. One I think could actually be done, which is like just a guitar pick, like a golden guitar pick or something like that. Or another one is a guitar case that's like a weapon case, but it can only hold other streamer items. That's the only thing it can hold. I thought that would be actually pretty sick.
Yeah, that's a cool idea.
Please, Nikita.
I've had a couple. A shoe that you can drink out of to get hydration for shoeies, or a box of extra small Slush Puppy branded condoms. That's
feels bad, man.
I got asked. Yeah. I said I wanted my firefighter helmet in the game, but actually I would like to change it now to actually a non-lootable item, which is a plague doctor that sits on the customs desk in the big red warehouse, and as you walk into the room, it flicks at you, and it's a bobblehead, so it'll just like shake its head at you and it's flicked at you, and that's it. That's all it does. It's just a full like Easter egg, nothing more.
That's sick. It'd be cool to see them do more stuff like that, like, you know, putting random little things in, you know,
just a picture,
certain like lesser explored areas of the map to go, oh shit, that's, you know, this dude's thing or whatever. That'd be cool instead of in-game items.
Yeah. All right. BSG, listen. I honestly do think BSG are actively trying to listen to their community, but they're also very busy. Large amounts of stuff to do. I don't know if it's 70 or 80 or 40 teams big. I'm guessing it wouldn't be, but you know, they're all got jobs to do. They don't have all day to sit around and watch streams and talk to us. So when they do, they probably try and take it in as much as they can, but it is what it is.
Well, I mean, this is like I work a part-time job and stream, and I don't have time to scratch my nuts. And I assume that these guys work 12 plus hours a day. I very highly doubt that they have time to do anything else, man. Like, they would go home and be brain dead. Like, it's
the last
a
thing they
hard
want
job.
to do is Tarkov. They don't want to think about Tarkov. They don't want to look at Tarkov. They don't want to.
These guys have families. Just remember that when you're flaming them on the internet. Like, these guys are humans. Do not rip into them and smash them for this. I know that humans make mistakes. We're all imperfect, but smashing them and saying that they're doing a shit job when they've produced a game that sits like in the top 10 of Twitch with a team so small, give them some credit, boys. They're doing their best. We all rail on them, but we're trying to be constructive. They are human.
Passionate railing.
Yeah. Passionate railing. Yeah. We want to help. When you sit there and call them fuckheads.
Yeah.
You're not helping.
Passionate.
and that's on the good days as well.
Yeah. What do I think about in-game VoIP? I would love to listen to cheeky breaky Russian hard bracing factory every time I ran it. That'd be awesome.
Oh no. I just have people mosing, man, just following me around. As long as I have a way to turn it off.
Yeah, as long as there's like Control M and I can mute all in-game comms. I could just do something like that, turn it off, and then when I turn it back on, I just hear hard bass and I don't know, someone going, Pestily back to me, boys, in the background. Like, it's, you know, it's like, as long as I can, yeah.
100+ people, not a small studio. How many people do you think DICE has?
Who's DICE?
100 plus. They could have 200. That's a small studio, my man.
Yeah, GTA has over 500 developers. Just developers, not art people. Not art people. Sorry, art people. You have a useless degree.
All right, guys. I think we might wrap it up here. There's so many questions. We could spend all night talking about that. It's already 1 a.m. for Slush, 1 a.m. for me, and Veritas got work to do, and Tweak's got a date. So, guys, thank you very much for today, hanging out and what do you call it? And having a chat. It's good to be able to just, you know, talk between us and the streamers. Unfortunately, I don't get to hang out with Tweak very often. It's probably the most I've ever spoken to Tweak before, really. And you know, and then Veritas, it's hard to get a really good chance to talk to him as well. So it's good for you guys to get the opportunity time zone's a bitch. Good for everyone to have an opportunity to hear our opinions as well. Thank you very much, guys. If you're not already following these three beautiful people, once I can get access to the. I'd love it if you guys could go to their channels, give them a follow, check them out next time they're streaming. If you enjoy their stuff, hang out there more often. This is, you know, a very passionate thing for all of us. Thanks, Tweak, Veritas, and Slush. I think...
Got my name, didn't you?
No, I didn't get your name at all. You guys happy to send everyone over to Ghost Freak?
Yes.
Yeah.
He's the man.
Guys, Ghost Freak 66 has been on the panel with us plenty of times. He has lots of opinions about this game. Beautiful man. He's probably the best player in Tarkov, and I'm not even bullshitting. He's, if not the best.
Legit.
Him and Warren.
Just so you guys know, that the tournament that King Panda is organizing, I've already shotgun Ghost. So just back the fuck up.
If you guys aren't already following Ghost Freak, make sure you go give him a follow too, and ask him these questions because he's an absolute legend of this game. Thank you everyone again for hanging out today, and guys, we'll hopefully be able to do this in another couple of weeks. Hopefully with more information about what's going on with all these issues that we've spoken about. We do love the game, and yeah, thank you very much for hanging out today. Guys, if you want to say something,
thank you guys.
30 seconds or so.
See ya.
Moist.
Twitch Prime.
National team.
Holy crap, you've listened all the way to the end, so I'm gonna sing my end credits. So guys, could you please go down and follow all the other guys in the podcast on their Twitch channels and their YouTube channels. Subscribe their YouTubes and ask them any questions that you like. Go for it. Love you. Toodles.